Bugatti circuit, Brands Hatch, all the way through to Yas Marino.
It's Sonoma,
One race,
bumps galore,
YMTV.
YMTV.
Oh,
There's a clear now.
Oh, he's going to make it work. Once again, now there's a swing down towards the top right, and who's it going to be?
It's Flipmode.
There's Ross Harmark.
This race is
Spoken has the acceleration. What a race. What a race.
Welcome to round number 3 of the Torah British GT Esports Championship. We are at a classic one, Tyler. We're at Silverstone. It's round number 3, GT3, GT4 cars. Are you ready, my man?
I'm ready to go. A 1 hour long race. Lots can happen. Let's get into it.
We got a lot of content for you guys. We're going to start getting some of that going because racing's going to be coming at us pretty quickly. Guys are already making their way into the lobby now. If you're not familiar with how British GT Esports Championship works, they've already qualified. So, next up, we'll be racing. It'll be 1 hour. 30 laps here at Silverstone. But in the meantime, here's some content coming for you. We're going to start with track details. We got a new partner to YMTV helping us out.
Hello, AMR Nightlock here, and welcome to round 3 of the British GT Esports Championship. Today, we're going to be heading over to Silverstone. This is actually the first race on the calendar shared by our partners, the real-life British GT. Looking at what I believe will be some of the more important parts on the track, let's first look at the arena complex of turns 3, 4, and 5. You'll be in a heavy braking zone going into turn 3, however can try and attack with a hard outside move. The smooth exit can allow you to counter into turn 4, but you'll need to be careful exiting turn 4 and going through turn 5, being wary of any oversteer so you can get a smooth run onto the Wellington Straight. Next, let's take a look at turns 6 and 7, often called Brooklands and Luffy. Brooklands is another area where we can see a lot of overtakes happening on the brakes and around the outside. But you want to make sure to stay tight to the inside of Bluefield, as that is a very long corner to find yourself stuck trying to go around the outside. Finally, and you all saw it coming, we move forward to Maggots and Beckett's. This complex of corners contains turns 11, 12, 13, and 14. You want to be very careful going in, making sure that you have the car set up for the corners correctly, and being very careful on your throttle and brake management. That way you don't overshoot it and wind up opening the door for any of your opponents on track to make a pass, exiting through Chappelle, and going onto the Hangar Straight. With 19 turns at 5.1 kilometers long, I hope you all enjoyed this look at Silverstone, and I hope all of you enjoy the race.
Hey everyone, Flip here, and after 2 rounds of racing, let's get you caught up on the championship standings. First, the GT3 class. And starting at the very top, he has been extremely busy racing all weekend and just coming off wins in the AOR TCC. It is Williams Mitch. He got double wins at round number 1 at Watkins Glen and another podium last time out at Catalunya, and he leads by just 1 point over Aerox Boket. No wins yet for Boket, but matching Mitch for podiums with 3 and a double second place at Catalunya, he looks to keep that streak going with his number 855 Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GTR. And skipping past Roadrunner in 3rd, I want to highlight Vitality Asics. Found some trouble and got mixed up with some drivers in round number 1, but he exploded in round number 2, taking wins in both races. He is in a comfortable 4th place in his Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo. Mr. Perfect, it is JSR South. Unstoppable so far this season in his Aston Martin. 4 races and 4 wins. Leads the championship over the American Aerox Vettel in 2nd by 4 points. His teammate Craviator sits currently in 3rd. Matt, Mead, and Hurricane all tied for points with 571. Look for those 3 today at Silverstone. Should be a great day of racing. So on screen now is your qualification results, and we have Williams Roadrunner up at the top. I believe this is his first pole position. I'm starting to look down the name here, and I see a lot of familiar names here, Tyler, but Roadrunner comes out, takes pole over the championship leader, Mitch. Where did Mitch end up here on this list?
This is, I wouldn't say it's a surprise. All 3 Williams guys are extremely talented, but to see the spread from pole sitter Roadrunner at a 2-minute 1:17 all the way down to 7 with a 2-minute 4:05, that's less than 3/10, but that separates the top 5. That's close.
Boket, he's been really strong so far this season. You saw in that standings video, pretty consistent. He's in 2nd position right now, looking pretty good there. A new name here, one we haven't seen so far this season. Casmo, I believe, is how we pronounce this one.
Chasmo, whatever. He's one of the young guns running that Aston third place qualifying. It's quite the move. I mean, former SVR driver, I guess. well, that's drama I'm not going to get into, but making it on his own, just all the more power to him there. It looks like Boken also, just a point of reference, is the only SLS driver in Lobby A in GT3. There's obviously the AM GTRs in the GT4 class, but he's alone. Boken's the lone Mercedes in a field of Astons, BMWs, Lambos, and a McLaren. Would you look at that? McLaren having a field day at its home course.
Yeah, so we got a McLaren, a new treat here for us for the BGT. Other names here looking, Mitch and Seven, they'll need to ride in as teammates if they have any chance of moving up and getting around Casmo and Boket. Solar, been consistent all season, starting his race in 6th. Asics comes back after double wins at Catalunya. He'll start his race in 7th. A lot of guys there. Drunken Lels, we know he's very, very fast. And how many? Looks like GT3, the last GT3 would be Nostalgia. Am I seeing that right?
It's Martin. It's Martin 2702, formerly of used to be one of the GTR drivers. He rounds out the field in a 2:09.67. That's 8/10 in room 1 for GT3. That's pretty close at Silverstone. There's a lot of turns on this track, a lot of time to be lost, but these guys are all real close. GT4 is more of the same. I think that they're spread by the same amount, about 9/10.
So that means there is, I think you can see it, maybe no, you can't see it on the screen. There is, how many GT3? 11 GT3.
Yep.
And then starting GT4, Vettel out-qualifies JSR South. This is the first chink in the armor. JSR South's been perfect all season. Vettel looks like he's ready to race today.
Ready to race, but I think the actual race itself, I think where we might see some shuffling around here. I know that the Aston's very good on top end, and the Mercedes is not. South and Crabtree are going to look to use that to their advantage, going down the Hangar Straight, going down Welton Straight. Basically, anywhere there's a straight, that Aston's going to be looking to get around anything out in front of it. But you have a sea of Mercedes and Astons at the front of the field. You have THR Sparky running the 570, a car for this track. It's difficult, but he made it around, so well on him, and he's unique in that way. He's the only 570 in room 1, so congrats to him for that, because I know that the Aston and Mercedes are definitely two of the better cars in the GT4 field.
So then in GT4, we have a bigger field. This is a huge room for a lobby. Are we going past the traditional 16?
Yeah.
The last driver would be Hurricane.
11 GT3s, which means there's just a little counting.
21 total.
Yeah, it's an enduro. It's a big lobby. You know, we're used to seeing some of these enduro races. YMTV streamed a few when they've had, the 12 hours of Sebring, 24 hours of Daytona. For an hour-long endurance race, get a few extra cars on track with pit stop strategy, which we'll get into just a second here. That means that, unlike the previous 2 rounds where there was 2 split races and the GT4s are only being lapped once, now with 2 sets of pit stops to make, a longer race in general, there is going to be multi-class traffic. It's something that these drivers haven't done. Who do you think stands to benefit from this change of format?
Oof. Well, let's just think about who's raced this past weekend in the Apex Online Racing TCC. How about the Williams guys having to do a reverse grid in race number 3? They know how to race around traffic, particularly traffic that may be a little slower than them. I get it, it's TCC, and there seems to be a little more door bang in there. The cars are a lot closer on pace, and this is GT3 going around GT4. But, I mean, the map, you're going to be on your map this weekend, right, Tyler? You're going to be looking, you're going to be IDing not just the track in front of you, but who's around the whole circuit. A lot of things to challenge and think about today.
It definitely is, and I think, just taking a look at the field, I think the person who stands to benefit, I've said this in endurance races, I think Roadrunner, this is going to be his race to lose. That Aston's got great top end, and not only that, but he's probably the most experienced driver in this field. He knows multi-class like the back of his hand. He knows how to get around slower cars that maybe he might get stuck behind a slower GT3 driver due to pit stops. He's going to stand to benefit from this, I think. So, if he gets out front, he builds a little bit of lead. He just has to manage it from that point, whether it be 100 feet or 500 feet, all he has to do is just maintain his composure and and he can potentially see the checkered flag at the end of this.
And he needs points too. Currently sitting third in the championship, looking ahead to his teammate Williams Mitch and Aerox Bokin. He's in front of both of them today, so he's starting out round number 3 at Silverstone. Couldn't have gone any better so far. Just a few more check marks, guys. Welcome to the stream. My name is Andy, aka Flipmode, and joining me today is LZR Diablo. For round number 3, about to head to Silverstone, and we'll get cars on track here shortly. The format for this race, Tyler, this is a long one, isn't it?
Yes, it is. An hour long, 30 laps, 2 sets of pit stops for everybody in the field. Unlike the previous sprint, well, not really sprints, but 30-minute races where you gotta, you have to push the first few laps, and then you have a little race of your own, and then kind of finish it off, and knowing you have a second set. This race here, this is one where people can go, okay, at the beginning of the race, people want to be super aggressive, fine, you can do it, but it's an hour-long race. You can use pit stops to your advantage. You can get out from behind people, you can get out in front of people, undercuts, overcuts, it's all there for today.
And cars as far as tires and fuel. You think there's plenty of both of those in these cars to go the full hour, even on one stop? Is that a stretch?
Well, I think it's a forced 2-stop. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It is forced 2-stop, but I guess I got to ask the question very clearly.
Yeah.
It's down to strategy, not the car telling you when to pit.
Oh yeah, no, these cars can go longer than, they're not going to be, pushing it to make just the 2 stops. They could definitely, I don't know if you'd want to go back to back on pit stops, but it's something that you certainly could do. I think the GT4 cars have maybe a little bit better fuel mileage. Maybe, I could be wrong. I haven't driven these cars out on a full fuel run like that. But you could see something where someone might pit maybe 30, 45 minutes in, or 30, 35 minutes in, and then they go into, 5 minutes later. That's something that they certainly could do. It makes it interesting. It depends on when they come up on traffic, or maybe they want to pit really early. The first time that they come around to lap traffic, the GT3 class, they dip into the pits so that they can avoid, having to run through that field an extra time. Something to think about.
Sure is. Well, we got a big field tonight, guys. We have the most amount of GT3 and the most amount of GT4 cars we'll be watching today than we've had in quite some time, and even, if I remember, last season. So these numbers I'm seeing here looks to be 20... I gotta count again here. I reckon it was the last one. 21 drivers on track today. GT3 and GT4, it's 11 and 11. 11 and 10 of GT3 and GT4. So it'll be a lot of fun, a busy track. Just a few more check marks. In the meantime, we got a video from the featured car. You may have seen this video if you guys were tuning in on week 1, but a little story with the designer who designed this car on screen now. Next up on the Torah British GT Esports Championship pre-show, the feature livery for this week's round, you can see it there on the Bentley, was created by AMR, the Hulk. And Hulk's joining us on stream now. I guess let's start with you, Hulk. Where did you get the inspiration from for this design? Pretty unique.
Hey, what's up, guys? AMR the Hulk here. Yeah, basically, for this design, I looked at the GT Sports art cars, kind of ruffled through the different variations that have been over the years and seen what they had, and then took it a step further. So hard angular triangles seem to be the definition of British GT Sport anyway. So I ran with that idea and thought to see how much of that I could incorporate onto the car while still keeping it clean and active looking.
So where did you get your, that's kind of where you got your inspiration from. What about the hardest part about making this livery?
Hardest part about making the livery was definitely assigning the logo positions and still keeping your layer count. So with Forza, you only get so many layers per side, and keeping it within the layer confines, that was the hardest part.
You turned around this livery pretty fast. We didn't give you much of a heads up. About how long do you think you took?
It took roughly 6 hours to do this livery. 2 days, 3-hour stints. So wanted to really just kind of figure out how to put the base layer down. Once I got the base layer down, the rest of the time was spent making logos.
And why the Bentley?
Bentley's British, right? That's the standard for British GT class. It's something that I thought would be an identifying mark, and I mean, it's really a classy car that you don't get to see a lot on the track.
Well, there you have it. It's our feature livery for round one here at Watkins Glen, created by AMR the Hulk. And Hulk, thanks for stopping by. You ready to enjoy some racing?
Yeah, man, let's watch it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. AMR the Hulk. THR Flipmode here. Let's get back to the track.
Yeah.
So we are back live, THR Flipmode here, and my co-host today is LZR Diablo. Almost there, guys, for race start, but let's make sure everyone knows what we're about to watch and how the format of tonight's gonna go. Tyler, help me out.
Okay, so this race is going to be a little bit different than the previous two. We're used to seeing two split races. One, actually, I think those are both the same length. Two races about 30 to 35 minutes each. This race is an hour-long enduro. So what you're going to see is that everyone is going to have a warm-up lap. First lap, everyone's getting in the grid, 80, 100 miles an hour or so around the track. You'll see everyone wants to hit the start-finish line. They'll start the race. They're going to be racing for 30 laps. You may look at the live timing and go, it looks like there's 32 laps set. The first lap is a warm-up. There's 30 racing laps. And then the last lap, you're going to see the GT3 cars. Once they finish lap 31, they're going to pull off on the side of the track and wait for the GT4s to finish their race. This is because Forza, when you finish a race, it gives a timer and AI take over the car. It makes it a little bit more complicated for the GT4s trying to navigate, because AI drivers are a bit... how should I put this? Unpredictable, to be really nice. So
They're not quite Uber technology.
They're not quite there yet. We're not in the iRobot phase. So when you see at the end of lap 31, the GT3 cars will pull off the side in order, and the GT4s will be allowed to finish their laps. They probably be 1 or 2 laps, probably 2 laps behind. They'll finish their race, and then everyone after that will finish the race finish the race in order, and we'll go from there. And that'll be. It's going to take a little bit over an hour, I believe, with the qualifying laps of the GT3 cars are not quite eclipsing 59s. I might see a cheeky 59 or 2 in the race, I think, but these guys are really pushing the limits. GT4s, I see everyone qualify with about I think the best was a 9.5 or 209.5, I think. And, within that, I don't know if 8s are going to be possible with a BOP, which has changed a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Maybe you might see a few low 9s here and there. All in all, a little bit over an hour long for the race, accounting for pit stops and being in traffic, things like that. So you should be ready to be tuned in for the next 65, 70 minutes or so. Be good to go.
Yeah, you touched on it a minute ago, and maybe I'm catching you off guard, but BOP. So something's happened with these cars from previous rounds to the cars being on track today. Are you familiar at all with some of those adjustments and some of the changes that have happened?
Yeah, they've done a little bit of work adjusting, and for this particular round, they've adjusted the Huracan, the SLS, the Vantage, and then as well the Camaro and the F-Type. I know the Camaro, we're not seeing the lobby today, neither the F-Type. We're seeing the Vantage, we're seeing the Mercedes, and we're seeing the Huracan. Some people have talked about some of these cars being a little bit too fast. I believe the Huracan received extra tire widths. The Mercedes, I think, might have received some help on the Vantage the opposite way. But let me just pull up the exact changes here. You have, I'm back. Let's see. changed.
Yeah, there definitely was a few. I think it was mostly around tires, right? Tire width, that seems to be an easy one.
Yeah, the tire widths are, I'm just trying to pull up the exact changes so I'm not getting these wrong, but now let's see where they'd gone.
I remember seeing it in Discord, actually. And maybe we can pull that up for later. And we may just go back on that. But basically, changes were made, guys. A few adjustments to some of the cars to try and bring them in line. We saw a lot of BMWs. We saw a lot of Mercedes and GT4. So trying to even out some of those cars, get a little more variety, and I think we're getting that today. Sparky's bringing a McLaren, the first time we've seen the 570S. We got an Aston Martin on pole, first time we've seen that. Asics has done great in the Lamborghini. I think we got another one there in TX3 Shelby. He's bringing his Lamborghini, so we're seeing a little more variety of the cars. I know people were complaining, saying, oh, we're going to do this every week. I get it, but the spirit of it is, if it gives us better racing, I'm all for it. That's my opinion on it. We're just about ready, I think.
I'm just checking the chat here. It looks like the track itself has not been loaded yet, so I think that's why we're not able to hit spectate, because we were just being told to do that, and we can't.
Yeah, waiting for TQ, AMS. But we gotta settle on a few pronunciations here today. So, it's Chasmo or Chasmo?
I think it's Chasmo with a C.
Chasmo, okay.
CH. Yeah, like church.
And then Tiku, Tiqoo. I remember him from the Maseratis on YMTV when John and Zermatt were calling it TQ. Let's go TQ.
All right.
TQ. Okay. Okay. TQ. So AMS TQ, he'll be starting. What's that? He's in GT3 and he's 10th on the grid. He's bringing a BMW. So might as well go through our qualification results and our order, because when we get them on track, it may be a quick lap. But it's Roadrunner to Bokit, Chasmo to Mitch, Williams 7 will start in 5th. Alongside him will be SVR Solar in his Aston Martin. Then it'll go to Asics in a Lamborghini, Drunken Lels in a McLaren, TX3 Shelby, he'll be in a Lamborghini. TQ, AMS TQ will be in a BMW, and Martin will be also in Aston Martin. So an Aston Martin at the top and at the bottom of the GT3 field. In GT4, it is Vettel out-qualifying JSR South, and those two guys are 1 and 2 in the championship. JSR South has been perfect so far. Vettel's chasing him by 4 points, so Vettel needs to not only qualify, but outrace Vettel South today. In 3rd, he's got some help. Does South, it's Craviator. And South and Craviator will both be in Aston Martin V12 Vantages. Lawrence, the Blackouts, they'll be teammates, both of the AMR Falcon team. TOS Barcode, THR Sparky, and the McLaren Aerox Bobby in the Mercedes. AMS Mead in the Aston Martin, and AMS Hurricane in the Aston Martin. So quite a few Aston Martins in the GT4 field.
And that's not a surprise. It's one of the better cars. It's one of the more simpler cars to drive. Front engine, rear wheel drive. It's gonna go around this track. Obviously with the British heritage of this track, it's they take it like a fish to water. So, I can just hear the lobby being loaded now. I think we should be able to spectate this. Yes, we can. Just about ready to go.
We are
Andy.
almost there, guys. I get up for British GT, and I love it because it's GT racing, guys. But this is Silverstone. We got more cars than we've ever had before. Still that multi-class, and this is one big race. This isn't 2 small races sprint to the finish. This is one that's gonna play out. It's gonna give us drama, guys. So look, here we go. We're loading into the track. Roadrunner Bokit Chasmo will lead our our GT3 field. In GT4, Vettel, South, Craviator. Any early moves? Where do you think Mitch is going to go in early? Tyler, you think he's going to wait? What about 7? How do those two guys approach this first race, this first few laps?
I think that Mitch and 7 are going to try to take this like a touring car approach where the beginning of the race is the easiest to make up positions. Why? Everyone's so close. It makes sense to try to make moves quickly. I think that in GT4, you're going to see South and Craviator try to take advantage of Vettel being a little bit slower on the straights with that Mercedes and try to try to make a move quickly and try to distance themselves so they don't have to deal with him trying to make moves back. But again, I mean, this first part of the track is pretty tight. I think it suits the Mercedes a little bit more.
So look out for those Williams guys making a move in that arena complex turns 3, 4, and 5 that Nightlock told us about, and that's what they're coming through now. You're coming in with a lot of speed and then heavy braking, so when that happens, that's when guys are going to outbrake their opponents, look for passes to be made in turns 3, 4, and 5. That's what they're coming through now. We'll take a look at our pole driver today. That is going to be Williams Roadrunner. And the first look at his BenQ machine. You can see Bokit behind him, warming up the tires. It'll be Aston Martin and Mercedes. First look at Chasmo's machine. He's also in that Aston Martin in a Nike Air and throwback here. Ben Smith won the GT4 class in an almost identical livery last year. So Chasmo may not know it, but he's got a little retro livery going on right there.
He does a little bit. It looks like he's called back the something that Force One had done earlier, or I think it was maybe last year. He brought a car that was painted up with the off-white tagging there, but with a black and white car, it's not quite off-white. But continue on.
So in 4th, there he is, Williams Mitch. Williams 7 behind him. We'll go down to Asics, who had a great Catalunya around number 2 in his Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo. We're getting a look from his view. There it is, the GT3, beautiful looking livery there. We got a McLaren, that's Drunken Wells in 8th. First look at him in the top lobby so far this season. Then we go to Shelby. 9th. TQ in 10th. And then Martin in 11th will finish our GT3 field. So this is the warm-up lap, guys. It is round number 3 of the British GT Esports Championship. And we are at Silverstone for 30 laps.
Who are you going to ride on board with, Andy? I've got Mitch in my sights. I think he's going to be the big mover.
We'll go to Mitch then. We'll take a look from Mitch. Here we go. The final turn. It's the British GT Esports Championship. GT3 cars about to cross that start line. And 1 hour of racing. 109.8 miles. Until we get to the finish. 30 laps at Silverstone. We are underway.
Mitch making a quick move on Chasmo, going through turn 1, a little bit of a cheeky line, but makes it stick. See if he tries to make a move on Bogan, no, sticks in behind. Oh, it's crowded at the back. Solar tries going up the inside of 7, now he's on the outside. Chasmo, oh, the 3 wide going through this hairpin. And Solar, I think, is going to get pushed out. Yes, he's in the grass, he's lost a bunch of ground. All of that work in the first 3 turns is gone back towards the back of the field. I think he's back in 8th. There's still 3 wide going down Wellington. Crazy first lap.
Chasmo loses out on a few spots. That's who we ride aboard now. He's in 5th position. Started the race in 3rd. The Williams guys made awfully quick work of him. He's down into 5th. Solar now into 7th. You can see Drunken Wells. He moved up the order. Drunken Wells started this race in 8th, so he's up 2 spots to 6th. So this is your GT3 field. Unchanged up at front. I think Roadrunner got a great start. Roadrunner, Bokit, Mitch, 7. This is Chasmo in 5th. Drunken Wells in 6th. Let's go down a few spots, take a look at Solar, because it's starting to spread out a little bit.
I don't mean to cut you off here, but we need to go to the GT4 field. Vettel's in last. Now he's up into 19th, but he went all the way to the back. What has happened? See him damage.
Go to Vettel.
Something's gone wrong.
I've gone to the loading screen, which typically means we may be backing out or a driver has disconnected. I think we may be restarting this race, Tyler. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But we have some
there's
missing
some rolling
drivers.
Yeah, we're restarting. Oh, let's do. I don't. Looks like the GT3 field's still going. There's
Man, GT3 hasn't got the word. I think that's part of the problem here, though. The party. We got 2 different party groups right now. So many drivers. I don't know if the communications got out.
Yeah, I mean, they should see that these drivers are DNF, but I don't quite know what's going on here. Not great. Not great. Thanks. I'm gonna blame Turn 10 and Xbox for this one. The entire GT3 field is backed out, or GT4 field is backed out. The GT3s are still going. They're gonna have to stop. Oh.
Yeah. I think
they've just got the message.
Yeah, I just figured that was going to happen, and that's indeed what's happening. Yeah. So we'll go back to B-roll, says producer. We'll get this race going again. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, we're backing out of the race, and we got to start it over again, and that's never fun. But Chasmo got a chance to do something right there, and it didn't work out. And he saw how quickly Williams 7 and Williams Mitch basically got around him. Can he approach it any differently? Does he need to do anything differently? Or does he just come out and race elbows out?
I think these races, if you're not starting in the front, you need to you just have to push. You know, if you're starting 4th or 5th, it behooves to try to get out front a little bit sooner rather than later, because if you wait, you end up losing a lot of time. You don't want to be 400, 500 feet behind. On laps 3 or 4, because I mean the entire field is separated by 9/10 in qualifying. That's a lot of ground to make up, and you're gonna have to really push yourself to make that happen. So that's why you're seeing these guys get aggressive at the beginning. Obviously we've restarted there, but I think the big mover and loser at the same time was Solar. He'd moved up a couple of spots, tried a pretty bold move down the inside of turn 2, got shuffled around in turn 3, and then even pushed out on the grass. He ended up losing because of that. I think that's something we have to watch out for. Guys trying to make aggressive moves, but they're not finishing them off. You have to give racing room, but sometimes you have to make moves that you gotta seal the deal. If you're gonna make a pass to somebody, you gotta clean that move off, because if you're making an inside move, dive on somebody, and that next corner is going the opposite way, you're gonna lose that spot. Most likely, the other person just throws the car in there, which is exactly what happened. I don't know if we should be throwing cars 3 wide into the slowest turn on the track, but I'm not on track to say yes, yay or nay. So let's hope that this time that doesn't happen again.
Well, we're gonna get another opportunity. Should be just one moment here, and then we'll get the race going.
Looks like I've got to go back into Forza. My game completely crashed. So there's that. So we have to give me just a minute here to reconnect. I'll still be live with you, I guess, according to a few people. It sounds like I'm in a bathtub. I am not in a bathtub. I am in my apartment, just kind of chilling. Not in a bathtub. I just want to clarify. I don't even have a bathtub. Just have a shower. Random facts. The more you know.
Get you back here. I think I'm back. So, may have missed the race start there as far as audio, but I think you guys can hear me now. So here we go. It is Boket falling down the order. He was challenging Chasmo, looking to make a move. Mitch up into second, so Mitch moves up a bunch of spots here early, Tyler.
Yeah, I stayed on board with Mitch. I think we both lost chat audio there for almost an entire lap. He made a brilliant move in back to the back, so we'll have to go back and clip that. Chava was trying to challenge Boca on the outside. They both slowed each other up. He just said, thank you very much. Goes around the outside in the middle of that back complex, and by the time they got to Beckett's, he'd already made the move, sealed it. But the problem with that, Mitch may have moved up 2 spots, but now he's just judging distance. You're probably 300 or 400 feet behind Roadrunner. That's not what he wanted to see.
So let's go down to GT4. I mean, it looks like we're pretty much line and stern for GT3. I haven't shown GT4 yet. It does look like Vettel or South has got around Vettel. So here's the battle for GT4. It is Vettel on board now. JSR South has made the pass, looking behind. Lawrence has got around Craviator. Craviator's dropped down to 4th in GT4. Lawrence moves into 3rd. Let's see what else we have. Craviator, then it'll be Blackout, TUS Barcode, AMS Hurricane, AMS Mead, Aerox Bobby, no Sparky. So Sparky's not in the lobby, and are we missing anyone else?
I think there was 21 to start with. We've got 20 now, which is unfortunate. Sparky being the lone 570 in the lobby, but we've still got, everyone's pretty much lined to stern, like you said, in GT4. GT3, Roadrunner is just doing his best to make that lead even larger. I think the Aston's got a little bit of an advantage here over that BMW. Mitch, one of the best in the world, but Roadrunner, he fits the same sort of bill. Chalmo is really keeping it close, though. Boket's still in 4th. I'm not going to say I'm surprised, but I think that before the restart, that first attempt, Chasmo kind of got shuffled to the back. I think that's maybe a little bit of lack of familiarity with driving with those Williams guys and Eric's guys. They're very experienced, and when they see someone that's new in the lobby, I know. I've been there when they go, oh, we got a new person, they're just going to shuffle them around, and it's quick to get flustered. Now it looks like he's settled in behind Mitch, and he's got a very small but noticeable gap back to Boket. So using the power of that asset, I think he can just kind of cruise there for right now. Solar up into 5th, trying to challenge Boket.
We'll go to Solar right now. Only sitting in 5th. We'll go to game camera and just see how close he is. There he is. You can see Boket just in front. And Chasmo looks like they're struggling there coming out of, I guess that would have been Luffield. Now through a very fast turn number 9. It's just a quick little touch of the brakes, a brush of the brakes, back on the throttle as quickly as you can. And now you head into Maggots and Beckett's. And hold your breath, guys. This is quite the complex.
Often imitated, never duplicated. You see something similar to this, kind of in a reverse order. We would go to Circuit in the Americas. It's very tricky to, the entrance and the exit are both equally important, because if you don't enter at the right speed, you lose all of your momentum through this. If you lose out on the exit, you lose all your momentum going down the hangar straight. It's one of the most important sections of this track. They're all important. You have to string every section together to get a fast lap. But that section right there, Maggots and Beckett's, one of the most famous in motorsport, and one of the most painful if you get wrong.
Chasmo went a little deep there. Bruce Stowe holds on to 2nd. Boket showed his nose, but manages to hold him off. So Boket and Chasmo going at it for 3rd position, and looks like Mitch here just put a little space between the pairing there behind him, or really trio behind him. And that is Chasmo, Boket, and Solar. Solar looks quick. I think he wants to get around these guys as quickly as he can.
Makes a dive, hard dive. Oh, very smart. Gets late on the brakes, but he holds the inside there. Brilliant move. Will Chasmo try to hold the outside? This is risky, and he doesn't. Boket's got the move for right now, but the power of the ass is going to come back on him down the Wellington Straight. He's got to leave a space. He runs up out of the curve, and there goes the ass, and around the outside, going down into left field. I forget the name of this turn, but it's the one before left field, I guess. Oh, squirrely on the brakes for Chasmo there. Well, Brooklyn, there it is. Oh, Chasmo keeps his nose there. Well, I would have sealed the deal a little bit harder there. Now Boket just gave Chasmo the spot. Now he's got Solar there right beside him.
Fantastic stuff here. Side by side, Chasmo and Bucket. On lap number 4. My goodness.
So looking at the cops. That's not a place you want to pass. It's a very high-speed turn. The cars tend to run a little bit wide here. Power of the acid trying to get alongside that Mercedes going to Maggots Beckett doesn't happen. That just kind of fall into line. Solar with a little bit of a mistake there, lost a bunch of ground. They had a cheeky line there. Solar, there's white lines on the track. You should follow those. Don't cross over them. Just want to point that out.
So this is SVR Solar we ride aboard now, and maybe we go, I think I see something here in GT4. I want to go to still the lead for GT4. Here it is. This is Vettel looking ahead to south, pulling away from JSR Craviator there in 3rd. So these two seem to be at a different pace than the rest of the GT4 field. This is JSR South leading GT4 ahead of Aerox Vettel.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Vettel gained a bunch of ground coming through Maggots Beckett, but there comes the acid. He goes flying down the hanger straight. Gains all that ground back up. Gets on the brakes. Vettel gains a bunch of time on entry and loses it back in exit. It's like a slinky. Just goes back and forth. The key is for Vettel to use these, the first sector of the track and the last sector where the turns are very tight to be able to make a move. It's that middle sector where he's going to lose a bunch of ground from the exit of left field up to Copse, and then Maggots Beckett being one thing, but then down the hanger straight to get a lot of straights for the acid to take advantage of that top speed advantage.
There it is, GT4. Those two guys going at it a little bit further down the field. We'll go to Lawrence to get a first look at him in GT4. What's it look like from his perspective? He's got some cars. He's got Craviator. So actually, Lawrence is in front of Craviator now.
Yeah,
so
but
Craviator falling down the
dive
field.
Down. Barcode tries to make a move on AMR Blackout. Now he's on the outside. I don't think he's going to be able to make that stick. Blackout's going to hold the position. Tries the undercut, not able to make it. Just looking behind me here because I'm still on board with Lawrence. Battery here. Two Mercedes going at it, so.
And looking at that, we kind of just made it out. Here goes Barcode with a dive! Looking to Blackout. They make contact.
Blackout just, what was that? Blackout just said, nope, I'm going to slam the door. That was
a bold move, though. That was a bold move from Barcode.
It may have been, but he had the space. He got down the inside there, and Blackout just cut back across his nose there. That could have been pretty bad if he hit closer to his wheel. He could have spun him out. I think that's you gotta respect the other driver when someone makes a pass like that. All Blackout had to do was just run it on the inside. He was gonna be able to hold that position. Left field's a 180-degree turn. You're not going around the outside of somebody there when you're in the same car. So. Gotta use a little bit more racing knowledge, guys. Can't just cut people off. That's not how you pass.
Take notes, folks. Diablo's teaching all you and schooling all you guys. Here we go. He's got to run now. Barcode's got to run. Looking to Blackout. He's going to be on the inside, outside here for the right-hander. This would be turn 15. Turn Stowe. Not a passing place, but certainly coming up next. Vale and Club. No!
Barcode.
I may be wrong.
No, it's
Blackout's going to be the inside here for 16. That's Vale.
Yeah, it's not going to happen here, though. Barcode would have had to try to cut underneath him. Doesn't happen. All this has done is let Mead, who I'm not going to lie to you, I'm surprised that Mead is this far back. He does have speed, but it doesn't look like he's able to convert on it here in his home race at Silverstone. Barcode makes a mistake. There goes Mead. I think he's going to gain, I'm not sure what position that is in class. It's 17th on track. 12, 11. So that's 5th or 6th in class. But there goes Mead.
Mead makes quick work of Barcode.
Well, maybe not. Barcode's going to try to ring around the outside here. Mercedes has got fantastic grip. He's going to keep his nose there. I think he's going to be able to make that one stick. He's going to try to ring it around the outside again. See what happens here. Power of the Aston. He holds a position. See, that is how you go side by side and not hit each other.
There's another GT4. I guess that would be Bobby. Get a look at Bobby. Oh, Bobby's joined this. So Blackout holding up Mead, or holding up Barcode. Mead makes the move. And now this is Aerox Bobby now. And that would be, what, I guess that would be 10th in class for, excuse me, no, that would be 9th in class for TOS Aerox Bobby.
That'd be correct. It looks like we've got our first set of pit stops for GT3. I just see the, just looking back at the track map here, we've got, looks like Martin and Tiku. Yeah, it's just those two have decided to peel off in the pits early.
2 pit stops, folks. Reminder, you got to stop these cars 2 times, and that delta is 44.8 seconds. So remember that number, guys, 44.8. That may be something to look at. So let's go back up to GT3. Looks like I see some traffic. Boy, look at on the map. Looking on the map, you can see Roadrunner is that blue dot here. Here is 2nd place, and there is Williams Mitch. So order for GT3 is Roadrunner, Mitch, Bokit, 7, Chasmos falls on the 5th, Vitality Asics in 6th. We'll go to Asics right here. Then it's Shelby, TQ, Martine. Let's go to Asics because it looks like he's got a great view here. Looking ahead to Chasmo, looking ahead to 7. What have you liked from Vitality Asics as a driver, Tyler?
Asics is one of the, I wouldn't say OG, but he's one of the more longer-standing competitors. He's a very, very fast driver in his own right. He's had some bad luck in the last couple of years of Forza RC, but when he is on, he is absolutely on it. We saw it last week, 2 wins, or last round, I should say. Back-to-back race wins. Silverstone and this Lamborghini. I know it's not the greatest combination. There's a lot of flowing turns. That Lamborghini loves to stick its loves to kick the rear end out. So I'm sure it's been a bit of a tuning. It's been a little bit of trial and error for him to get the car to be settled in a little bit. Moving up into 6, that's it's a good spot. I'm looking up actually ahead here. It's 7 that's up into 4th. He's moved 2 spots. Chasmo has fallen down the field a little bit. He's into 5th in the clutches of Asics here. I would suspect. That the Aston may be great on top end, but that Lamborghini is even better. I don't think there's another car that matches it on top speed.
If you're Chasmo, though, what about pits? Because right now, it looks like Asics is faster than you, 7's certainly gotten around you, and you're the guy in the middle.
If I'm on Chasmo, I stay on track. I stay on track as long as I can, as long as I've got somebody right behind me, because if you pit... Oh, that's a mistake from Chasmo. And Asics runs right in the back end of him, and in the time he needed to recover, there goes Asics. Okay, so now that changes things. I think here, if Asics is able to hold this spot, Chasmo just kind of lets him go. This is a moment when in basketball you'd call a timeout, or football you'd call a timeout. This is a moment when you need to just kind of you're about a third of the way through the race. I would dip into the pits right now and just say, okay, let's gather ourselves again. Let's figure I know I've got pace. I qualified 3rd. Let's get back into it, run some clean laps in clean air, and go from there. Asics runs wide there.
Here's Chasmo. Asics with a slide and encounters with another slide through Maggots and Beckett's. Can't slide here on Chappelle. You need a great exit because it's another high speed. Needs every ounce of that Lamborghini's Super Trofeo's horsepower because here comes Chasmo's Aston Martin. That's who we ride aboard right now. This guy qualified today in 3rd. Falling down the order though early. Yet to make his pit stop. We have seen a few GT3s make their pits early. Do we see one here? We do.
One that we did miss was we had Tiku and we had Martine go into the pits earlier, but Solar has also pitted as well. He's in position 9 on track right now, but he's got a pretty good gap to the cars behind him. Where he comes out in relation to the other cars is a good question. Actually, let's answer that question now. Another GT3's in the pits.
So who should we go to then?
This is we've got is Tiku in the pits again? Have we had guys that have pit twice? Seems strange to me that I thought Tiku had already been into the pits because he's an 8th. That's definitely not 2 pit stops.
And we're left
There goes
guessing.
Solar. I'm a little unsure here. I thought he was one of the ones that went into the pits.
I mean, if he pit twice, I would think the GT4s would be in front of him. So.
No, I'm sorry. That was my game just deciding to be a little bit funny. That's Chasmo that's come out behind Solar. That's who pit. So apparently he was listening to me, and he's already, the damage has already been done because Solar's got he's got a pretty good gap to Chasmo. That means that Solar's going to be up further in the field than he was.
I've actually moved down to a battle, Vettel and South. So South has
the
not
lead.
been able to get away, and Vettel's been on his back bumper the entire lap number 9.
Yeah, that's just going to continue to be a thing. You're going to see the grip of the Mercedes come into hand here. He's right. Oh, that's a big sim twitch out of Vettel. He holds it. Oh, that could have been really bad. On the breaking into turn, I guess if you want to call it 3, at Silverstone is harder than it looks because you're coming off of a high speed right, then left, and then it almost feels a little bit downhill, and it's more than a 90-degree turn. So when you get on the brakes, sometimes the car likes to get up on its, on its front wheels and brake, and not slow down as much as you wanted to because you're coming in at an angle. So I think we saw it a little bit there. He got on the brakes and started to sim twitch. That is something to watch. That could ruin someone's race very, very quickly.
Williams Roadrunner leads this race in GT3. You may have saw it briefly on the ticker. I know I got a little overlay there where you are using the ticker, but the fastest lap's actually from Boket. This is Vettel looking ahead to JSR South in the battle for GT4. These are your leaders, both yet to make any stops, these two. We have seen a few stops in the GT3 field. Keep in mind, folks, 2 classes. We are using player buckets. We've got a number of different colors. The ticker up top is going to be tricky, but that will be your working order in your running order. And we'll keep going through that. We'll do that right now, just so you guys know. Up front, it's Roadrunner. And you know what? He's approaching some traffic. So let's go to Roadrunner now. There it is. You can see some GT4 cars up ahead.
Yeah, I think you've got Lawrence out in front of him there, as well as, let's see. I thought it was Lawrence. No, it's Barcode and Bobby that are at the back here. And it looks like that Roadrunner is going to catch them in back inspect. This is the place where you do not want to catch a GT4 car because the GT3s have so much more aerodynamic grip and mechanical, really. Runner's just going to run the outside of them both here and gets Bobby in the right spot. He lost minimal time. You lose a little bit of time watching the car in front of you if it's a slower car. But he fortunately didn't have to brake too much. Roadrunner gets away there. Let's see.
So let's go down. Let's go down to the next pair of cars who'll be coming through. That's going to be Boket and Mitch.
Yeah, I don't think Bogut's close enough to Mitch to possibly make a move. And Mitch hasn't really made it in the end roads on the Roadrunner either. Yeah, they're not really all that close to each other. And I don't think any crazy moves are going to get Bogut any closer. Short of the front, those last 2 GT4 cars going in a side-by-side battle, which they are close enough. I don't see it happening, though.
Asics makes his first pit stop, so the Lamborghini in for a new set of tires and a splash of fuel. He'll have to make one more stop, so here comes the Williams Mitch.
Mitch is going to have to go around the outside of them both. Yeah, he's going to have to thread the needle a little bit. It kind of puts Bobby off there. Barcode goes up the inside. We'll see how that plays out. Mitch goes around the outside there of Mead. Barcode and Bobby still... Nope, they're no longer side by side. Bobby holds the position. So that's them through. The next one is Boket. It looks like 7 has gone to the pits. And look at that. Solar jumps up to 4th. He's done that. He did that in week 1. He's done that here now. Hitting early, getting out in front of somebody because they get stuck in traffic or they're stuck among themselves.
Solar's moved into 4th. Here he is. Behind him.
Taking advantage of that Aston power right now. And the Aston definitely
7
has the edge on the field.
Yeah. This is 7, and there is Solar. So Solar's made a stop. 7's made a stop. Chasmos and Asics have all made stops. That means Drunken Lels. Actually, I think every GT3's made their stop already. So every GT3's made 1 stop.
Correct, yeah. They've made their first set of stops.
With the exception of Roadrunner.
Yes. No, the front 3. Front 3 haven't pit yet because you have Roadrunner and then Mitch and then Boket.
You're right.
Solar's in 4th.
So this, if you guys look on the map, here's 4. This is the group of drivers in GT3 who have pit right here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then looking to 1, 2, and 3 are leaders in GT3. Here is Roadrunner crossing the start-finish line. There is Mitch, and there is Bokit. So here, let's go to 7. This looks like a good spot. This is Essex. And how about the job from Chasma? I think, you know, did he overqualify? Did he overperform here in qualification, getting 3rd on the grid and set himself up for a tough race? He seems to be falling down the order, making a mistake here or there. Maybe he's got good hot lap pace, the race pace though, racing with the big guys here in A lobby. Maybe a little more work to be done. Or am I being too critical?
Yeah, these, yeah, I mean, that's a problem, really. I mean, you see it oftentimes when someone qualifies, you know, in amongst of, you know, some of the best drivers in the world, you know, your FRC level of drivers. But, you know, it's one, you know, there's a reason that those guys are some of the best in the world, why they're competitive in Forza RC, because they can do not only hot laps, but they can race too. And they're able to hold the pace that they qualify at. What you'll often see is that someone can qualify, you know, say you run your 2-minute .3, but when you get in the race, they're starting to run 2-minute .7, 2-minute .8. Those guys that qualified, you know, at that same pace that are Forza RC level, they'll continue to do that lap after lap. And if you make mistakes, they'll be the first to take advantage of it. I think that's what you're seeing. Chaz was a little bit inexperienced in that way. He's young. You know, he's one of the bright. You know, looks to be one of the brighter stars. You know, upcoming in Forza RC. You know, eventually, you know, potentially becoming capable. But for right now, the established crowd are taking advantage.
They don't need any invitation, and it can be ruthless. Can motorsports be? Just because you get the invitation to a team like Ferrari, like Charles Leclerc, doesn't mean you deserve to race with the big boys. You still have to go out there and perform on track. So here we go. That's Chasmo. He's learning it the hard way. Started the race in 3rd, fighting off Essex, trying to hold on to the back of 7, sitting in 6th. So let's see what else we have here. Maybe TQ. Haven't seen much of him. Currently sitting in 9th in GT3. Looking ahead to Drunken Lels in the McLaren. And behind that would be Martin. So our leaders have still yet to make their pit stop. Or am I wrong? Roadrunner's out, Mitch is out, and Bokit's out. So 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, they haven't pit just yet. They don't have quite that much of a gap. You just see Solar is just coming through the tight switchbacks in the first sector, but Roadrunner is just going down the old start-finish line towards Cox. So still a pit stop left to be made by the first 3 GT3 drivers, but they don't need to pit just yet because they've cleared all the GT4 traffic. Up in front of them, though, it looks like they have. I'll check who it is. You have South and Vettel, that battle for the lead in GT4. The lead GT3 car is going to come up on it real soon. Actually, let's hop on board with these guys because they're right neck and neck. Vettel is still trying to get around South here, but he's not able to do it.
I was already there, Tyler. I knew we should go there, so we caught it. So we caught it. We got South and Vettel, and this is your lead in GT4. Vettel touches the back of South there. Here we go. Vettel does not need to battle anymore. He heads into the pits. That leaves South all by himself. So that was the battle for GT4.
Probably for the best there, because you're going to have the 3 GT3 drivers trying to make their way through. And you're going to have Roadrunner at least catch South here. Hopefully it doesn't cost him too much time.
Here is JSR Craviator, the Australian, looking ahead to AMR Lawrence, currently sitting 3rd in the championship. But today's been a different story for him. Getting out-qualified by Vettel and South. No surprise there by South, but Vettel having a good day and looking fast, which means Craviator's struggling here. And he would be in 4th in GT4 class.
Yeah, you just got Lawrence on front of him now.
Lawrence would have meant he started in 4th. He's moved up to 3rd. Yeah, so these two guys are simply just swap spots.
Correct. just watching on board with South here. He kind of got lucky with Roadrunner catching him on the exit of the left field. That means no time lost. I suspect South will try to come in this lap for pits so that he covers off Vettel. With him being that close, you're not going to want to run an open air for very long. I think Vettel might have a little bit of extra pace here in that Mercedes. So if South is, unless South's capable of running quicker times without someone right behind him, I think this is the lap where he's going to come in the pit. It's about halfway done the race, you know, on lap 15 of the 30 that we're going to run today. So.
And besides Mitch, who's quickly approaching, and then that would be Bokit, I believe, next. There's not much else out there. So you say he goes in. Here goes Mitch under brakes. And
yeah, I think
pass.
South needs to come in here. Looks like is that Roadrunner going into the pits? I think it is. It is. Yeah,
would be
South
Roadrunner.
follows him in. So we technically will have a new leader to this race, and that's going to be Williams Mitch, taking the lead for his teammate, privateer teammate for this particular case. Roadrunner in the Aston, Mitch in the BMW along with 7.
Getting crowded over here, though. Looking behind Black. There goes... I want Blackout now. There goes Chasmo. Here comes Asics. This would be through Stowe. Both of those GT3 cars make the move. Mead's back there. That would be, I guess, all GT4 behind us. So Chasmo and Asics both get through. Chasmo still holding off Asics. So he's starting to get comfortable, maybe finding that pace.
South's gonna have to pin it. Vettel's coming back. He's gaining a lot of time. South's on cold tires. Vettel needs to go. This is the time that Vettel needs to try to make a move. It's alongside. Not gonna be able to ring it around. That was the moment. That was the moment. We have another chance on these guys to make another set of pit stops, but that right there, Vettel, I'm sure he would like to have that back, you know, on that lap, unless it was perfect. There's that, you know, if I could have been 10 feet further up the road, he could have made that move on South there. Not gonna happen now.
So South fresh out of the pits. Vettel's got 1 lap on his tires. And the lead unchanged in GT4. Still South leading to Vettel. Thank you guys for joining us on YMTV today. My name is Andy, aka THR Flipmode, and color is LZR Diablo. You see Solar moving quickly through these GT4 leads. This is the Torah British GT Esports Championship, round number 3 at Silverstone. It is GT3 and GT4 cars, guys. 2 different classes, 2 different speeds. This is the battle for GT4, which would be the slower cars. South and Vettel battling, and they've been battling all race.
We got 7 here trying to make a move. Let's see if this affects how South is going to get on the brakes. Will Vettel be able to take advantage? No. 7's able to make the move a little bit quicker so that he doesn't leave a spot open on the inside. Vettel's still right there. He's not able to make it happen yet.
We'll have to keep an eye. Locks up those tires. Into club. Now on to turn 18. That's Vale. And they'll be starting lap number 17.
This is going to get tricky here. I don't think Chasmo is going to be able to make... He's going to have to dive him here. And Asics is going to try to make the move with him. He's able to do it. South was nice, and he let them go. But all that's done is allowed Vettel to close a little bit back up. Going down into turn 3. That within a couple of seconds, that could have been a little... a little bit worse.
This could be it. He touches him.
Gives him a tap. He gives him a tap, but he's just not quite close enough. He needs that extra 5 feet. He needs to be able to get his car alongside. And not only that, he's got to get to the inside somehow. South is, you know, playing this perfectly because he knows he's got the top end speed. So as long as he's on the apex, he's going to retain that lead going into the next turn.
Here comes more GT3. That's going to be Drunken Lels. And not sure who quite that could be.
That's TQ behind him.
TQ. So more GT3 cars perhaps disrupting this battle for GT4. They're in their own race. Drunken Lels slots in between the 2.
Yeah, Vettel's lost a ton of time you know, in these last on the run from left field up into Cops. Now you've got Drunken Lels making the move, but you have Tiku, who now is gonna sit between the two GT4 leaders. Can't flash the lights or anything, but those GT3s. Oh my goodness! I thought we were gonna have contact there. Didn't, fortunately. Sal's gonna have to run this nice and tight, so it doesn't run into Tiku on the outside there. And the back of Vettel definitely lost out on this. He's now,
Sure did.
you know, he's losing 100 feet, 110, going up to 120. This is not what he wanted to see. He probably lost a good half second, 3/4 of a second of that exchange.
Let's go further down GT4, see if we can find anything else. Oh, looks like a Craviator up there on screen. Let me fix that. Only been up there for a while. So I'm looking on right now. This would be AMS Hurricane, Barcode, and Bobby behind Hurricane. And this would be for, let me see here. Oh, on
Hurricane
brakes.
with a big mistake. Yeah, big mistake. Oh, he tried the cutback, and Huracan sat kind of on that apex. Nothing he could do. Barcode runs into him, and then Bobby says, "Thank you very much. I will take that spot gladly." Now Barcode is 9th and at the tail end of the GT4 field.
Yeah, big mistake there from Barcode. That cost him a spot. He was ready to make a move on Hurricane, and instead it's Bobby who makes the pass. So here we are
Bobby's
into
gonna
the
try to go
arena
up the
section.
inside here. Nope, can't make it happen. Barcode he clipped that curb a little on the inside. Wasn't able to quite get him the throttle like he would like. Here comes Barcode trying to make that move past Bobby. Bobby hits the curb a little bit, gets a little bit squirrely, and then Barcode's even more squirrely through there. Kind of cuts across the curb. They're going again, and the order's restored to what it was about a half a lap ago.
Just drop back to Bobby, looking ahead to Barcode now. And these two have exchanged a few positions. Both in the Mercedes. And trying to get around AMS Hurricane. So this would be the back of GT4. And we are lap number 17 of 30. And the GT3 car is just starting lap 18 of 30. I imagine the GT4 cars are at least 1 to 1.5 laps behind at this point. And they are. They're indeed 1 lap because South is down 1 lap on our GT3. So they'll be starting lap number 17.
Correct.
See,
Looks like here Roadrunner's made his second pit stop, because you have Mitch and Boken are out in the lead.
okay, well let's move up to GT3. So let's go. Right, here's Mitch. This would be Boket. Here is Roadrunner. So let's go to Boket. Boket in second position. And you can barely make out Williams and Mitch there in the provisional lead. You imagine once these two make a stop, Roadrunner would get that spot back. But does Boket or Mitch make a stop here soon? I think that's a little early.
Well, fairly soon. It is a little bit early, but
Yeah.
it is. But again, you know, using that track knowledge to his advantage, Roadrunner's come out in clean air again. He's already made his pit stop. He came out just in front of the, not only the GT3, he came out in front of his other GT3 field, so he doesn't have to battle with anybody else on an early pit stop, but also he's in front of the GT4 guys, because they're now just a complete lap down. So he can run basically most of the rest of this race without worrying about anybody else on track. He's just hot lapping.
Yeah. So look, this is Roadrunner, guys, in that blue dot that's coming around Beckett's right now through Chappelle, and look there are no cars around him. And then if we go to the leaders, this is 1 and 2. They got plenty of track too before they find any GT4s. That would be a yellow dot going through turn numbers 3 and 4. Just ahead, oh, she's pits. They both stopped.
Yeah, they both were gonna cover that off there. For a moment there, it looked like Craviator was trying to make the move back on Lawrence with third at GT4. Wasn't able to make it stick. Crowd will have to wait until they get to the hangar straight to see if he can use the top end of that Aston to pull him past the Mercedes. He's close. I don't think he's close enough just yet. He needs to be within that 25-30 feet range to really be able to make a pass on exit going down the hangar straight.
So I've gone Roadrunner and no challenge. He comes out in front of GT3. You just saw those headlights of Williams Mitch coming out of the pits. But there is the gap that he's built with his 2 pit stops done, Mitch's 2 pit stops done, and then Bokett's 2 pit stops would also all be done. There's a race to the finish, and how about that gap that Roadrunner's built?
Yeah, that's pretty much it right there. Short of a very major mistake, Roadrunner's got this. I said it from the beginning. All he needs to do is just not get in trouble, and this is his race to lose, and I was right.
Asics and Chasmo still going at it. Just on board them. This is Williams 7, currently sitting 5th in GT3. Chasmo would be 6th, Asics in 7, Drunken Lels in the 5 McLaren in 8th, and TQ in 9th, and Martin in 10th, wrapping out our GT3 field. In GT4, it is still South leading Vettel. Vettel gets caught up in some GT3 traffic, and that gap sort of spread a little bit. Then it's Lawrence and Craviator. We'll go to Craviator, currently in 4th in GT4. You can see the gap to Lawrence. About 2 seconds from Lawrence to Craviator. Then it's Blackout in 5th. Mead in 6th. Hurricane in... just keep losing my audio because I'm running multiple controllers. So I have to keep remembering to touch my other controller. That's why we go silent. So I've actually dropped down to, yeah, I know, it's a lot going on. So I've dropped down to Mead, looking ahead to Blackout. These 2 guys ready to pair off. I believe they both will, they may actually have their stops done, considering where they are out on track.
No, Mead was closer to the back. I don't necessarily agree that that's where he is. Maybe, well, let's see what he's got for, well, that's telemetry we'll pull back up. Here we go. Tires, 42%. So Mead hasn't pit in a while. He's made 1 stop, and he hasn't made 2. Whereas Blackout in front of him has about the same amount of wear. So these guys still have to pit a lot.
They're on the same strategy. Yeah, so this is going to come down to maybe Mead feels if he's faster. He certainly looks faster than Blackout right now. It would clearly be a strategy decision as to when he goes in. He actually has to check up on the brakes there and give a little space between him and Blackout. And this would be for, let's see. Be for 5th. 5th in GT4. Gives us an opportunity to find something else here. I'm trying to find on the map. So we could go. Hurricane's real close. Hurricane and Barcode, actually. I'll go down to Barcode, and I believe this would be the back of GT4. Excuse me, Bobby. Bobby's had a tough day. He may have actually already made his 2 stops. So maybe if you want to check Bobby for me and check his telemetry, see where his tires look like.
Yeah,
but I'm on board with TOS Barcode.
Yeah, I would say, judging where Bobby is, it looks like he would have made that pit stop, and he has. He definitely has. He's 85% fuel, so he stopped a couple laps ago.
Barcode with a bit of a cut there through Beckett's. Now looking ahead to Hurricane. They'll be approaching turn number 15. This is Stowe. It's a brush of the brakes, back on the throttle as soon as you can. And there would be a passing maneuver or passing spot in 16, 17, and 18. That's Club, Vale and Club. And I see a car go off in the pits. That might have been Mead.
It was Mead. Yeah, Mead dived off in the pits. He realized that Blackout wasn't coming in this time. Darted over him. Huracan thought about it for a second, and then he dipped back onto the racing line.
So our GT3 order, Roadrunner, Mitch, and watch guys on the mini-map because we'll be seeing them on track. So Mitch is in second here. In third, that is Bokit. Fourth, Solar. Fifth, Williams 7. Chasmo holding off Asics still in seventh. Then you get to TQ. Ooh, actually looking still here. It's Barcode and Hurricane. Almost have a touch there. We'll keep an eye on that. Then Drunken Lels in 9, Martin in 10, Shelby in 11, and then it's GT4, it's JSR South, and Vettel trying to get back up to the behind JSR South. He was really, really close and threatened before, after pit stops in GT3 traffic. The two kind of split a little bit, but this is still Barcode looking ahead to Hurricane.
Yeah, it looks like South has got a bit of a lead on Vettel now. I'm not really all that surprised. I think South just has to kind of maintain this. Taking a look here at the mini-map, it looks like the GT3 field is still quite a ways away from them, so meeting them up by the end of this race, it might actually be a bit of a tall order.
We're on lap number 20, likely 21, probably from the GT4 field. There is 30 laps in total. I know the counter up there says 32. We did a warm-up lap, and there will be a cool-down lap as well. So 30 laps in total. This is your GT4 leader, South. There in the background, you can just kind of see them. And that is Aerox Vettel. Anywhere you think we should go?
I'm just looking here. It looks like we've got a couple of is the GT4s that dipped into the pits. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got Lawrence and we keep changing position.
Barcode.
Stop changing position. Yep. So we have Huracan and Barcode have come into the pits.
Well, let's go to Mead then. Let's go to Mead. Actually, let's go to Bobby. No, Mead. And see where he comes out. And if he gets in front of those two guys in the pits, it's going to be close. I don't think he's done enough.
Yeah, I think he's going to get one. I don't know if he's going to get two. He's going to get, I don't know who was out in front there. Whoever it was, the second driver definitely lost out a lot of time. I think that's...
Barcode.
Yeah. Wow, I don't know what happened there, but he lost a ton of time.
Lawrence, because they were side by side. Very, very close, and Barcode comes out very, very slow out of the pit sequence. Lawrence loves that, so there's that car way up in front. That's AMR Lawrence. This is AMS Mead. He slots in between the two, and then now Barcode's got to work and fight off Bobby. So Bobby's joined right up against Barcode. I think all of the GT4 cars have made their stops, or at least this group has.
Yeah, this group certainly has. We've got A6 and...
We got Roadrunner. We got Roadrunner coming through this field now.
Oh, we do.
He's going to be coming through these GT4, yeah. No, excuse me, this is...
No,
this is Solar.
You've got Roadrunner is just coming past Bobby now.
Yeah, Roadrunner.
His car
There,
is a
that's
little
what I meant to go
confusing
on
because you got a purple and blue car, and Solar's car is purple and blue as well. Different areas of the car are those colors, but they're similar schemes in terms of colors being used.
Roadrunner combs his way through some GT4 cars. Are there more? There'll be more. Looks like Amos Mead. And then that would be Blackout after Mead. This is your leader in GT3. Mead makes it easy on him.
Yeah, he just kind of lets him slice past there. Roadrunner's got this race pretty much on lockdown. Mitch is just behind those GT4 cars. He just got aroused, so he's got about 4 to 6 second lead there. He's maintained it pretty much this whole race. Be a nice 300-point day for Roadrunner if he finishes this off.
And I've dropped down to Mitch. He's going to make his way through the back of the GT4 field. That's Bobby and Barcode.
We've got A6 and 7 who have just decided to dip into the pits as well. And this is going to be interesting because it was A6 and Chasma that were battling back and forth with each other. And now we see, that's runner given by Lawrence there. That's obviously not different classes. Let's see where these guys come out. So you got Seven who's just coming out of the pit. Solar is flying up the start-finish straight. He's going to get back. He's going to get past those guys easily. No question there. What about Chasmo here? I think Chasmo stands to benefit. He might get them both again, and he does.
He does. Chasmo and Asics are going to go at it again.
Yep, Seven's just in front there. Asics loses out. From first,
this is how they were before, but Asics hasn't been able to find it yet.
Yeah, he's not going to find it. I think this was a tough one for him this week. I think this car track combination was difficult for him.
And he certainly had a fantastic race at Catalunya, taking both wins. But here it's more of like the opening round, kind of in that mid-pack for GT3, like he was at round 1 in Watkins Glen. I think there was some contact, if I recall, that kind of forced him out wide in turn 1. But here at Silverstone, I think, we started to see maybe Chasmo doesn't have that pace. Certainly can lap, but around the track with some of the big FRC guys here that we have today. But he's held his own, and he's holding off Vitality Asics, a previous BGT winner. So Chasmo standing to get some significant points in this championship.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think he can't be disappointed with how he's driving right now. He's driving against some of the best drivers in the world in that race GT, and like you said, he's holding his own. A6 is someone that's been up towards the top steps of Forza RC. So to be able to run that sort of pace, obviously this isn't Forza RC, it's a league race, but to be able to hold that sort of pace is good. Looks like Roadrunner just got fastest. No, not fastest lap. He just ran at 59 though, so Roadrunner's still killing it in pace.
Yeah, I think Bokit also has got 59 maybe. I think I saw him with the fastest lap with a 2:02.0.
Yeah, fastest clean lap it appears.
Clean lap, yeah.
So 2:00.0, that's still moving in these cars for sure.
Qualification, that was a 2:01 from Roadrunner. So Bokit's actually faster than Roadrunner's qualifying time. And the qualifying session is really just 15 minutes of ghosted lap hot lapping. So it's them to get this pace here. It's quite impressive. So here we go. Asics looking ahead to Chasmo. And I don't know if there's enough here for Asics. A little bit of a twitch coming out of Luffield. Out through Woodcut. Turn number 9 would be next. That would be Cups. So let's see here. Let's take a look at GT4. So let's go to Vettel and South. We'll go to Vettel. Looking ahead to South, and I think that opportunity, he's got to really get on the throttle now, doesn't he? Does Vettel?
Yeah, I think Vettel's chance, like I said, was when they made that first pit stop when they were close. I think now, South kind of settled in, used traffic to his advantage. He's built up a lead now. The South can make a couple of mistakes, and Vettel still can't do anything about it. Even when he was super close, the race pace of that Aston is able to hold him at bay. So I think it's just going to be a fairly simple ending this race for South. I think he's going to take this one. Roadrunner's going to lead. They're just going to manage it. These guys are both used to racing and managing leads when they have them, and this is no different.
Vettel sitting in second in that championship, and South looking to get that perfect streak. It looks to be still alive for JSR South. 4 wins in 4 races, and he's about to get a 5th win, and looking that way. So GT4, JSR South leads Aerox Vettel. Then it would be Craviator. He has indeed made a move. That would have been Lawrence. He passed at some point. AMR Lawrence now in 4th in GT4. So Craviator's gotten back his 3rd position. It's where he qualified and where he sits right now. Here's Lawrence on screen. You can see Craviator just dipping his nose around cops. Then it'll be Harkin in 5th in GT4, Mead in 6th, and Blackout in 7th. We'll go to Blackout because Blackout and Mead still going at it. And here comes Barcode, actually. Barcode, Blackout, and Mead. Boy, it's been an hour of just constant battling with these guys.
Yeah, they definitely have been going back and forth. Barcode, I think, he's had the pace, but he just keeps making mistakes. He was further up the field, or moved his way up, and now he just, he just. Speaking of mistakes, there we go. That's a mistake by Blackout. Barcode just easily scoots on by on the inside. A little bit of a lockup going into that turn there.
Yeah, Barcode qualified 4th. Yeah, he was 4th on the day, and falling down the order with a few mistakes. Not big ones, just little ones, but they've clearly been costly.
Yeah, most certainly.
And so let's see here. I think we got some GT3 cars would be approaching some GT4 traffic. I'm looking at Solar here in 4th. Behind Solar would be 7 and 5th. So Solar's coming. What is he going to do to this battle here in GT4? Let me go to Solar then. Few GT4 cars coming. Where are you, Solar?
He's just coming into Brooklands now. You can see Bobby just in front of him. Blackout. Yeah, the tail end of this GT4 field is still really close together. They're still nose to stern. They have been all race, really.
That's Mead, Barcode, Blackout, Bobby. This is a GT3 car in SVR Solar. He's going to be much quicker. You can see just how much faster that Aston Martin is than that GT4 Mercedes-Benz. Makes quick work of Bobby. Next will be Blackout. Does this disrupt the GT4 battle?
Oh, he risked it there. I think he's going to try to split. The Barcode doesn't know quite where to go. He's able to get through without disrupting him too much. Now he's got Mead. So he's going to try to run it around the outside of Mead here, and he does. Mead just holds his line. Solar made quick work of those guys. Didn't really lose any time whatsoever. Maybe a little bit going through, almost a little bit in Beckett's, but to pass 4 GT4 cars that quickly, you can't really ask for much more than that.
Now it's 7's turn to do the same thing. I think I was pretty impressed with what Solar did right there, and not disrupting his race or the race of the GT4 field. Let's see what 7 can do.
Yeah, he's caught him in a different spot, though. Yeah, it's a different area. Yep, 7's gonna have to wait behind Barcode, but stacks up Blackout. Gonna try to go to the inside here. He gets by Barcode, makes that one easy. Then he's got Mead. He's gonna make that one nice and easy, going across the start-finish line.
And now this is Chasmo's turn. It doesn't stop, Diablo. Here comes Chasmo, and he's gonna get caught in a tough spot here. Really tough. This is the slowest part of the track.
Yeah, Blackout didn't really want to give him that spot there. He doesn't want to lose much more time. At the same time, Chasmo's got A6 that's right behind him. Oh, A6 goes in. Oh, my goodness. A6 wanted that spot. He wanted to not lose any time to Blackout there. Blackout just kind of sat mid-track. Didn't really give him anywhere to go. Chasmo trying to get around Barcode. Kind of pushes him along. Doesn't really get by him that quickly. He's got Mead to his outside. He's going to be able to get him under braking. That one's nice and easy. A6 trying to get around Barcode here. Barcode has to kind of avoid because A6 slides his way through Brooklands. Now is A6 going to try to wrap around Mead to the outside. Mead is still there, and he makes the job. He gets the job done, but A6 definitely lost some time. Chaz was down by Huracan as well, so that's one less car he has to deal with.
A6 losing sight of Chasmo. I think Chasmo got around just a little bit cleaner than A6. A6 has got to get on his pedal right now. He's got to smash that throttle down. Running out of time here, running out of opportunities. Makes a mistake here. And Beckett's has to check up.
Yeah, he's not getting Chasmo before the end of the race. He's just too far back at this point. I'll tell you who is stacked up. If we go a little bit further back, We've got Drunken Lels is also trying to make his way through this traffic. He's just getting around Mead.
And Drunken Lels, bit of a quiet race today from him. TQ. He's got some space to TQ, so not much of a threat to losing his position here in the closing stages of the race. But Drunken Lels would really need to catch up to get ahead to A6. So Drunken Lels really here just needs to keep that car clean and on track.
Yeah, Vettel just is either Vettel or South. I'm not sure who pit first or last in this case, but one of them just come out of the pits. The gap is about 200 feet and change. South has done everything he's needed to do to secure the win for today's race, even though Vettel was on pole, had the pace, I think, in the first half of the race, but just wasn't able to convert that to a race victory. The pace of the Aston Martin Vantage GT4, just a little too much to overcome.
I moved up to Mitch. He went heavy on the brakes to get past Vettel. In second place in GT4. And you can see up ahead, that's JSR South. And he'll be your leader in GT4. Quickly approach. Difference in speed of these two cars and classes. So, I mean, here we are. It's lap number 30 of 32, which would mean we have one more lap to go.
One more lap for GT3, yep. Goes South with a bit of a mistake coming out of Beckett's corner there. Boak gets by. Vettel's nowhere close. He makes a mistake of his own. Yeah, that race is done. Looks like Crab has secured the spot over Lawrence. Crab up into third place. That's where he started.
Yeah. So let's see here. I'm on board with SVR Solar. He'll be driving through some traffic. You can see Aerox Vettel, and then it would be JSR South. But otherwise, you know, let's go to our leader. Let's go to Williams Roadrunner. So he's in the arena complex.
Today.
Absolutely. From pole. Didn't have to play in the sandbox with everyone else behind him. Here he is, making his way around turn 5, onto the brakes, into Brooklands. Sure we didn't lose anybody. We're going to the loading screen. I went 3 times.
I think we're all right. No, we lost somebody. No, we did. We're down to 19. Uh-oh. Who did we just lose? Let's see. Roadrunner.
It's not
Mitch,
Roadrunner.
Bokit, Solar, 7, Chasmo, A6, Wells, TQ, Martin, Shelby. Now it's none of it's a GT4 driver, so we have South,
Craviator?
Vettel, Lawrence. Yeah, it's Craviator. The curse continues. A man's connection. Australian driver, he's known to have issues with his internet connection and lagging out here with literally 3 laps to go. That's just painful.
Well, on board, it is Williams Roadrunner. From pole, he lapped a 2-minute .1 and started the race in front. Here he is, just a couple of turns remaining. That would be 3 in total. Williams Roadrunner will get his first win of the British GT season. One final turn, and he's done it. It's Williams Roadrunner who takes the win here at Silverstone. Round number 3. We'll go down to Williams Mitch. He'll be approaching that finish line. There he is. He gets second place. And huge championship points for Mitch, our leader in GT3. Bokit still keeps the podium streak. He gets another podium, his 4th of the season. In 4th, it's Solar, just off the podium. Valuable championship points for him. He finishes in 4th. 7, he will be finishing in 5th with a big slide. Chasmo, what a fantastic job from him holding off Asics. South's actually, he still should be racing. Why is South over here? I would think he should still be racing. Oh, I guess they're calling this race now then. Okay. Typically, we've seen the GT4 go out another lap.
This is, I guess everyone's following suit, so I think we'll be all right. I think maybe in the interest of time, maybe that's how the endurance works in this particular case, but everyone's peeled off.
You get a good look from the helicopter of your GT4. South, Vettel, Lawrence, Harkin, Mead, Barcode, Blackout. We lost Craviator and we lost Sparky right at the start. So Sparky never got a chance. He would have been part of this field, and Craviator painfully disconnected. Well, I guess what would be the final lap.
That's just so... man, I've been there. It is the worst feeling in the world. You make it this whole way, you practice all week, and then you get to the race, everything's fine, and it's done. And it's done.
Who taught Bokit how to park? Facing the wrong way. But it's Roadrunner, Mitch, Bokit, Solar 7, Chasmo, Asics, Drunken Lels, and Martine, right? Oh, TQ, then Martine is your GT3 field. So fantastic stuff. That was round number 3. Anything jump out to you? Any performances that you thought were special? Any moves that you thought were great? Anything that stood out to you today during the racing, Tyler?
I think the thing to take away from this is Roadrunner's dominance of this event. You know, starting on pole, taking off. You know, the race honestly was done after the first lap. He had such a gap that Mitch was gonna be hard pressed to try to make that gap up. He was gonna take a mistake from Roadrunner. The other person I think that took advantage was Chasmo. You know, he did qualify third. Yeah, he did finish 6th, but I think he can use that as momentum to be able to, you know, to keep racing with these guys and go, you know what, I can race with these guys. I don't have to worry about anybody else. You know, I can race as well as I can qualify. You know, it just, you know, I think that's great for him to get up there and to finish where he did. You know, there's a lot of good names behind him and a lot of good names in front of him.
Yeah, and we said, you know, does he have that pace? He seems to be falling down the order, but he found it, and he held off Asics. Drunken Lels wasn't going to need it. He was close. He was within the picture. TQ as well. So, but GT3, it was Roadrunner dominant today. Dominant in something he hasn't been in the GT3 season so far. In GT4, again, it's JSR South. He's still perfect, folks. 4 races, 4 wins. You get the 5th one, he sure does. He holds off Vettel, and Vettel was really threatening earlier on in this race, and then it changed, didn't it?
Yeah, I think South just, he built a little bit of a gap. That's all it really takes for these guys. If they get a 100 to 150 foot gap, they don't have to worry about someone diving up their inside or trying to make a move. You're not driving defensively anymore. These guys were so close on pace, so once you have that gap, it's really hard to upset it. You know, it requires a mistake for someone else, or maybe contact with a passing car or something like that. Without that, you know, these guys can hold these gaps.
So Vettel, I think, South just broke him, really. And Vettel gave it his best opportunity and his best shot, but ultimately South was just faster. Lawrence takes 3rd position, and I think what might have been his best performance so far in the GT4 season. So there you have it. That was round number 3. We will be back for round number 4. I don't believe it's till next month. So we'll have a few weeks off. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but if you give me a minute, I'll let you know where we're headed.
Yeah, we're definitely, when we talked about in the pre-show, this is, Silverstone is kind of a crown jewel event with it being an enduro. And there's a big gap to the next race. The next race is at the Nürburgring GP circuit on June 30th. So after 24 Hours Le Mans, you guys need to watch that. That's, I believe, the week of the 14th, 15th or so. So we've got about 5 to 6 weeks before the next round of British GT here on tour. It kicks off again. Use that time off wisely. It's almost half the season done, Andy, for British GT.
No, don't say that. But final words, I want to give a big thank you to everyone who's tuned in. My name is Andy, and alongside me today was LZR Diablo. It's been a great race. Round number 3, Silverstone wins from Williams Roadrunner, in GT3, and JSR South keeps the perfect streak alive. Congratulations to those two. We will see you guys next month at Nürburgring for round number 4 of the Torah British GT Esports Championship. Be sure to tune in next weekend for the real British GT Championship. No esports there. They're headed to Snetterton. That's next weekend for round number 2. Be sure to tune in online for that. So look out for more information on the real British GT. That's simple, BritishGT.com. I want to thank again everyone for tuning in, and big wins today, Roadrunner and South. Have a good night.